What if I told you that the money in your wallet isn't really real? That it's just a story, a really, really powerful and useful story, but a story nonetheless. Today, we're going to peel back the layers on the shared illusion that we all live by, something we use every single day, but almost never stop to actually question: money. So here's our game plan. We're going to start with this wild idea that money is just a shared illusion. Then we'll take a trip back in time to see how we went from trading cows to just tapping our cards. We'll uncover why trust, not gold, is the real currency, explore the awesome power and the scary dangers of this system, and then we'll wrap it all up by asking a much bigger question. What is value, really? All right, let's dive right into part one, the shared illusion. Now, the main idea here is pretty simple, but it's also kind of radical. The money you have only has value because you, me, and everyone else, we just agree that it does. It's a powerful story that we've all collectively decided to buy into. I want you to seriously think about it for a second. That cash you might have on you right now, is it actually fundamentally real? Well, the answer might surprise you. In a way, it isn't. I mean, it's not real in the same way a tree or a rock is real. The actual piece of paper it's printed on, it's worth next to nothing. See, what it all boils down to is that money is a social construct. That $100 bill is only worth $100 because we all believe it is. You could almost call it a mass hallucination, but hey, it's one that works incredibly well. Without that shared belief, it's really just a fancy piece of paper with some nice art on it. Which brings us to our next part. Because, it wasn't always like this. The whole story of money is really the story of how human trust became more and more abstract. Let's trace how we went from trading actual physical things to just trading, well, ideas. You can see the whole progression right here. We started with barter, which was honestly a huge pain. You had to find someone who not only had what you wanted, but also wanted the exact thing you had. Then we got a little smarter and moved to commodity money, things like gold or salt that were useful on their own. After that, we had representative money, paper notes that were basically IOUs for a chunk of gold in a vault. And then since 1971, we've been living in the age of fiat money. And that's the system we have right now. Fiat is just Latin for let it be done. So fiat money has value simply because a government says it does, and more importantly, because we all trust that other people will accept it as payment. It's not backed by anything physical anymore, just our collective faith. And of course, this gives governments a turn of power to manage their economies. Okay, let's move on. If you thought fiat money was abstract, oh boy, the digital age takes it to a whole new level. Today, trust is literally the only thing holding it all together. Take a look at this number, over 90%. Any guesses what that could possibly be? It's a pretty staggering figure when you think about it. Yeah, that's the percentage of all the money in the entire world that doesn't physically exist. It's not cash, it's not coins. It's just ones and zeros whizzing around on bank servers all over the planet. Just think about the last time you bought a coffee. You tapped your phone or your card and that was it. But what actually happened? No treasure chest of gold coins was moved. Nope, a computer somewhere just subtracted a number from your account and another computer added that number to the coffee shop's account. That's it. It's all just an exchange of information, and the whole thing is powered entirely by trust. Now, this system, this story of belief, it's got some incredible benefits, but it also comes with some pretty big risks. And that's what we're going to get into now, the power, the peril, and the paradox of this financial world we all live in. The historian Yuval Noah Harari really nailed it with this quote. He called money the most universal and efficient system of mutual trust ever devised. And he's right. It lets billions of complete strangers, people who don't know each other, maybe don't even like each other, work together on massive projects, from building skyscrapers to exploring space. It's a universal language. But there are absolutely two sides to this coin. On one hand, you have the promise of a thriving global economy that funds art and science. But on the other, you have the danger of what happens when that trust completely disappears. Just look at Germany after World War I. Faith in the currency collapsed. The government printed so much money that it basically became worthless, and people had to use wheelbarrows full of cash just to buy a loaf of bread. The illusion just shattered. And you know what? That trust gets tested constantly. Central banks can create more money, which can lead to inflation and make your savings worth a little less. Financial crises are really, at their core, just crises of confidence. And of course, government policies can change the rules of the game overnight. So yeah, this shared belief is powerful, but it's definitely not invincible. So this brings us to our final and maybe more philosophical section. If money is just a collective story, it kind of forces us to ask a much deeper question. What is value really? It's time to look beyond the numbers on the screen. Here's something that's really important to remember. Money is an absolutely incredible tool. It helps us cooperate as a society. But at the end of the day, it's just that, a tool. It was never designed to be an accurate measure of a person's worth or the meaning of a life. When you strip everything else away, you realize that money is a claim on resources, but it isn't the resource itself, right? It can buy you a house, but it can't build you a community. It can pay for a class, but it can't give you creativity. Our relationships, our health, our knowledge, these are the things that have real intrinsic worth, way beyond anything you can put a price tag on. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. Understanding that money is a kind of fiction doesn't make it useless. In fact, it makes us see it for what it truly is, one of the most powerful inventions in human history. It's a story, and if money is just a story that we're all telling ourselves, then the most important question becomes, what kind of story do we want to write next?